Upgrades.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another episode review for Echo, straight from Disney Plus. This is episode 2. I have most of everybody from the first episode we did. Hope you guys were very entertained by that. I definitely was. But I'm gonna bring everybody back. What's going on, Vanessa, Jorge, and Aunt Gold? What's going on, guys?
Hello.
What up? Hi. We're here.
We're here again.
Every episode we have a death match and one person gets cut out. So as this show continues,
it's gonna get whittled down to one.
Yeah, we sacrificially ate him. I'm just kidding.
There we go.
Okay, this is not Yellow Jackets. I swear she's lying. But yeah, let's go ahead and kind of dive into it. So the first episode, we unanimously kind of gave it a rating between A to or B plus. Second episode, I'm curious to see where everybody's thought process is because they kind of switched gears because primarily most of this episode is Maya trying to infiltrate a train that we don't know why she's trying to get to the train. We just know she's trying to look for something and she's using the town and her cousins and specifically Biscuits to get everything she wants and she needs. So I'll go ahead and just kind of dive in. What were some of you guys' impressions going from the first episode, going expectations for the second episode? What were you guys thinking this was going to go? Because I want to say something, but I'm going to let you guys infer what you guys think.
No,
Vanessa, I'll let you go first.
I think that I had different expectations from the first episode. So this episode was a little bit slower for me, but I love the whole train sequence and I love Biscuits. I think he might be the MVP of the season. But I liked it. I don't know. I just felt like it was a little bit slower than the first episode because you got like Bisque and Daredevil and fights and gunshots and things. And the coolest thing that happened this episode was the train situation. So, but it was nice to like get to know the family a little bit more and figure out, their dynamics a little bit more. And we got to see older Bonnie. So that was cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Jorge, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think this episode was exactly what I was expecting, like, because it can't just keep crescendoing and keep getting, like more and more action. I actually, although the train scene was dope, I thought I guess, is it like field hockey / lacrosse, like that indigenous sport that they were playing?
Right.
I thought that whole sequence was super cool because you kind of start seeing, in a weird way, her connection to these people, and when you start seeing that scene, like that got me more hyped up than anything because I think that is going to be, for better lack of terms, the whole storyline of this whole season is like you have this girl put up against the unstoppable force, and yet she finds a way of pushing through, with the helps of her ancestors. But I liked it. I thought this was the right tempo. I like that they slowed it down. And they kind of just give you a little bit more, like they keep, peeling the onion, as I like to say. But how about you, Ant? We'll switch it up.
So this is what I expected. We had the biggest episode to get us hooked, which is the first episode. They needed that for a new character. And then I like how they're starting off with different generations of her ancestors, what I'm assuming, and we're getting a look into this culture, right? And that's something we really haven't seen on this level. And so now you're asking questions like, what is this lacrosse type thing? You might know lacrosse came from this or something, So I like that. Again, this is just world building. So we knew what New York was like. We know what that was like. Now we know what the small town life is like and where the connections are and going from there. So yeah, it wasn't as fast paced, but I liked it. I think that some people, when we see reviews about this, might complain about the train scenes, CGI or special effects. But this is a TV budget. It was supposed to be, right? We've grown up on this. Right. TV budgets are the same thing as a movie budget, and we don't need a movie budget on a TV show. Those are two different things. So I was fine with the train scene, and there was a part where we all winced at the same time, which lets you know that the action was effective. So if you do something effective, you don't need a big budget. You don't need all the gimmicks if you sell it.
Yeah. Nah, so
Mhm.
yeah, we can go ahead and kind of go into that specific sequence because I kind of researched like because I think it took place around 1200, and they basically showed like the lacrosse version for Native Americans, and so I kind of looked at a couple of different images, and I was like, oh, this is really interesting to go down this route. But one of the ancestors of Maya basically like leading the charge. She was doing a really good job. And all of a sudden they got like, hey, we need to get the real man out here and like he needs to kind of dominate the field. And he just was hammering him. And it was kind of like, okay, if we don't win this, it's gonna look bad on us as a whole. And all of a
No, her
sudden,
people had to leave. Those are some
oh, that's right.
stakes.
Yeah,
They
that's
had to
right.
leave.
As a whole, they had to technically vacate. That's right. But something started to happen. The anger and anger she got, more frustrated she got, she started to kind of see a vision of the first indigenous person that kind of came through that was leading. And she started to kind of get a juice of like energy. It started kind of going through her hands. And she trying to just plow through them with a lot of speed and a lot of actual physical force, and then they won the match. But it was interesting because it was almost something like she tapped into. And then they kind of transitioned back to Maya, and she's kind of held up at the house. But from the way they did the choreography from the scene, I think they did a really good job with that scene because it lays a foundation of where we're going to kind of see her powers kind of go into. But I wanted to ask you guys, is that a plus or a minus for some of you guys? I know some of you guys are going to say one thing, some of you guys are going to say a different because this isn't technically Echo's origins, but it kind of is going down a certain kind of rabbit hole. So I was kind of curious your perspective on how they're handling the power set where she's eventually going to get. And then, of course, leading into the train sequence that she does actually use a little bit of the same kind of energy and power. So what was you guys' perspective on that?
Yeah. I don't know anything about this character, so I didn't know if she had powers or anything or whatever. So I saw that I was like, oh, okay. Like I saw in the beginning, which the scene with the Choctaws was really cool, to witnessing them, like the interactions, the game they were playing, the fact that the stakes were so high, and the fact that she was like channeling her powers and spiral, which is cool, the symbolism of that. Um, but I don't know. I thought she was just gonna be like a street level fighting vigilante, so I'm kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if I like the superpower thing, but I maybe it'll grow on me, whatever. But I love the building of that, like the fact that we're in Alabama and how deep the history goes. I said this when we were watching. Like, I wonder how much research went into this, and if they had actual Choctaw people on their staff to like really flesh out this kind of history, because this is pretty detailed stuff that we don't usually see in Disney. And I think they're doing a better effort lately of including more of that stuff. But I liked it. Let's go.
Yeah. All
Jorge.
right.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that the way that they're incorporating and I won't even call it history, but just the way that they're incorporating this indigenous people and just kind of respecting it. The one part that I found kind of neat is when in during the game when the woman, because it seemed like she was one of the few women who were playing with the men, but when they had kind of that scrum, that's kind of when she channeled it, when it was almost like she's put up against a position where she needs that extra help, type of stuff. And it almost kind of echoed the same thing as actually Echo in that train scene where she was stuck, and it's almost like she needed a little extra. I actually have no idea about this character, and I had no idea that she even had, I don't want to call them mutant powers because I don't know if she's a mutant or what she is, but I thought that was kind of neat. I thought that was a neat aspect of it, and I definitely enjoyed it. It was intriguing because it's not like she hasn't used this in a fight. It's not like she's throwing like fireballs from her hand or anything like that. So I think it'll be interesting to see how they incorporate this moving forward. But for now, I'm very intrigued and I like it. I think it's definitely the way to go.
Okay. Ant, what about you?
Oh, can I go? No. So, um, so I was looking this up while we were watching it. After we watched that scene, the cross scene was again the way they shot the action was so great. And I saw that in real life, they used to play with 100 to 1,000 different people on the teams. And I can only imagine the chaos and the brutality of it all. So I really like that. And there was some. Remember, it was pushing on one team, another guy from another team came up and like pushed their guy to go forward. Like it was great. I think that while I know Mel Gibson is problematic, his movie Apocalypto, one of the reasons why I think it hit was because it treated the indigenous people that were the stars of the movie like people, right? When somebody outside usually comes in and feels people, the great spirit or whatever, they make it sound kind of unorganic. And this one, they treated them like people, and because which they are. But like I'm saying, Hollywood hasn't always done a great job of portraying indigenous people as humans. Like they're always something else or some kind of offset. So I love that. As far as the powers go, I feel I'm very scared. Me and Sam watched Moon Knight going through, and we loved some of the episodes. And then near the end, it was Marvel had to Marvel, right? And you had a great story set up here, but you had to go the whole opposite way. And then we had giant kaiju fighting, everything like that. I think that her powers in the comics are she has a what is it, photographic abilities. Yeah, like she can copy what she sees, like Taskmaster. And okay, that could be an interesting power set. But I think you're going to lose some of the street element. You can still have that power and still be street element. If you're pushing train carts off you you gave us this badass fighter, and now you're going to give her superpowers to kind of negate that, or you're going to have to come up with a villain that's going to be out of nowhere to like counter her. I'm very concerned about that. I'm still with it. I'm still want to watch it, but I'm a little concerned about that part of it. You're muted.
Oh, you're muted, Sam.
Oh, sorry. I think they're gonna have to find some kind of deterrent with that she has to only use it in a life and death situation. It can't be that she just automatically tapped into a lot of super strength, because it just wouldn't fit for any villain like they bring in. Like, I mean, like even if she fought Wilson Fisk, she wouldn't need that. You know what I'm saying? So it just doesn't make sense for those kind of scenarios. So I think maybe if it's a life or death kind of situation to save her life, maybe that would work. But we'll see. I kind of am indifferent because I don't know enough about Echo, but I did think that it would have been so cool, especially looking at the first episode, how she kind of like watches a person and sizes them up and then counters them, especially seeing her going up against Daredevil. They never fought before. And he can't see her, but she's, going mat for mat with him. So it makes it more engaging with every fight she gets into. She's going to get better, but it's still that sense of danger because she can't, necessarily hear what danger might be around her.
When Cassandra Cain first came out, she's dyslexic, and I'm challenged with dyslexia too. So I would give clients of mine comics of her to show, like, oh, she's using her ability, like, because everything we say learning disability, and it's not; it's just a different way of perceiving things, right? Yep. So that was a really big thing. One of the reasons I grafted to that character, and because she had to pay attention to like different ways of body language and things like that, it gave her an edge in the career she chose or was chosen for. I was thinking that it was going to be really cool to see this character. She has to pay attention more for other things to give her this real world kind of advantage. And I feel like this is all in my head. I get it, but like I feel like that might be lost if she can throw train cars around, like yeah. And you said it'll make the confrontation the stakes less. Does it make the stakes less? So
yeah. So we'll see. Hopefully they kind of like temper that and kind of see where we kind of go as far as an engagement standpoint. But going into that, they finally showed the grandmother. The grandmother's kind of been going around town like, yo, what's freaking going on? And then as soon as she finds out, like, Maya's here, oh heck no, she got to get up out of town. And she's still looking at Maya just like she looks at her dad. And it's pretty messed up because Maya didn't do anything. I mean, she's done stuff, but the grandmother hasn't kept track of the things that Maya has done from 20 years. And so she's kind of like, yeah, she need to get her tail out of here. And so it's just interesting to see how the grandmother has kind of tracked down everybody. Like she's kind of tracked down Biscuits, saw Biscuits, like took her car, messed her truck up. And on top of that, like the way she's kind of interacting with everybody else, it's just weird because she hasn't interacted with, it's her husband, right? Because he's been in the shop all day. They haven't interacted at all. And so it seems as though the daughter's death has kind of caused like a rift. She's made herself just completely busy and distant. Just because like she seems like she's helping and apologetically cool with everybody else, but really there seems like a separation because with him, he's just kind of keeping his work at the shop and doing what he can. But he was a lot more cordial with Maya. Like when she did interact with him, like he wanted to be of service to her regardless because she's family. So I was going to ask you guys y'all's perspective on the grandmother versus what we kind of saw with the grandfather in this episode.
Yeah, I was gonna say my mom and I had this conversation when she was here. That I don't know if it's like it's everyone's family, it's everyone's culture, but my mom's Boricua, so like we were talking about how like even grandparents, like the mom's or the woman is always slightly more stern than the dad or the grandpa. Like the grandpa's more fun, the dad's the fun one, the mom's more authoritative. So I see that dynamic coming through with this family. I think it's so accurate, and I think it's so real that the matriarch of the family, she lost her daughter. Like I don't know how you can grieve that. I've lost my father, and it's just like those kinds of losses are just kind of hard to manage. And she's just like not only lost her daughter, she hates her son-in-law, and then lost her granddaughter in the process because she never came back for 20 years. Like this, it's just interesting to see the difference in the way it's really affected the entire family. Like Biscuits is just trying to hold it all together. Like he's just like he's a people pleaser. I also understand that. He's just trying to be there for everybody. Shout out to Biscuits. I hope nothing bad happens to him. Yeah.
Anyway, so I love how you said that Biscuits is a people pleaser, and he's trying to keep everybody together, probably at his own detriment, right? So like he's not going to take care of his needs. He's getting in trouble with everybody else. I completely get that perspective. Or grandmas, the smaller you are with the meanest look, I'm 6'2". When she looked at him passing that car, I felt the shiver. Like I wanted to help Biscuit out. So and we all got that one cousin that's gonna get us in trouble that we can't take everywhere. that's gonna get us in trouble. And they act like they don't care, but they want that grandma love too. And even grandma, she's like, well, I hope she keeps moving on. Grandma ain't mean that. She ain't mean that. She wanted her baby girl to come and see her, but she can't just say it. It's kind of like she can't say, I spanked you for no reason. Like she gives a plate of food. Move on. So I thought that was good. And there's a thing in comics and a trope of series where you have one super tech genius that can put these things together. It's kind of unbelievable. But I believe Grandpa know how to do the jerry rigs and stuff. Because we all got that one. Go to his garage. There's tools you ain't never seen before. He used to fix carburetors for fun or whatever he used to do with it. I believe he would jerry rig a leg. If he had a cigarette hanging out of his mouth, that would sell it even more. I believe that man knew how to have explosives, small cameras, probably an arsenal in the basement. I believe everything about that. That was the most realistic gun chair that I've seen, and he probably don't know how to check his email, but he know how to make a bomb.
Yes.
So I love that. I know I've gone on too long, but I have a lot to say about the family. So Sam gonna mute me if I don't shut up, y'all, just so y'all know.
Jorge.
I think it's I thought the dynamic was really cool, and I do agree with kind of like how she feels so comfortable with her granddad, and how you almost have like this trust type of thing that's going on through there. And I do agree, like, yeah, you always have like, and maybe it's just like in a cultural thing, but there's always that one like granddad or father figure or someone who can just fix everything, and you're just like, how do you do that? And I mean, just for him to like take apart a bike, put a little shock in it. And I thought what was cool was given. He built her like a leg that works, right? But that's not like his end goal. And it was almost like, hey, like he's even joking with it, like, don't run off with this, you know,
Mhm.
it's temporary. So it's almost one of those things where he's trying to, even throughout all this time that he hasn't been around her and all that, he's still
Mhm.
trying to give her the best, you know?
Yeah.
It's almost like, here's this just to hold you over because I know you need it, but just wait because you're gonna get something better. So for me, it's like
Yeah.
I'm excited to kind of see that relationship. And for me, Biscuit, like, and this sounds terrible to say this, but it's like it just reminds me of like a golden retriever. You know, it's like no matter
Yeah.
what you do to this dog, like he's just gonna be happy as can be, will always show up. And you can,
Brr, brr, brr,
yeah, like
brr,
Biscuit.
brr, brr.
Stop. Oh my
Bruh. Look, y'all need
god.
to stop putting that evil on Biscuits, bro.
We need to protect biscuits. We need to pray over biscuits.
Yes,
Pray in
no,
Right,
circles.
no, yeah. Throw all the
Yo,
prayers up
we
for Biscuits,
we
bro.
betting money. We betting money in Vegas.
Yes. Oh my god. It was a biscuits.
Drake,
Yeah. It
first,
was
first round of drinks. That's all we want on the JVS
football.
tour of Vegas. We go get that.
Oh, what? Like who gonna get off in the family? Oh yeah, I put some bets up. I think. Look, I put the uncle up on next first. First on deck,
Oh,
uncle,
Mm.
and then next would be Biscuits. Unfortunately,
No,
they wouldn't do any. They're not gonna do anything to the grandma. They're not gonna do
Oh,
that. That'd be
we
that would
don't
hurt my
know.
heart.
Biscuit.
grandma
They better
grandma
not.
might
They
go,
better
and that's
not.
going to bring the
No,
family together. There's gonna be
no.
some.
This is
Uh,
not
I don't think
revealed.
it. I don't think
Stop.
it's gonna be the grandma. I think it might be grandpa. It
oh,
might.
that could be good
Y'all
I
too.
need
think
to
it might be
But
that
stop,
one.
bro.
but I
Y'all
I think
was
putting
it's
too
gonna
much
thinking
be
evil in
though.
grandpa.
that.
You had mentioned Echo's mom. We haven't really got her backstory, and I think they're probably
Mhm.
gonna give her some agency in what she got into with I don't know this. I have no proof or like evidence, but I just have a feeling they're gonna give her some kind of agency in her choices
I
going
think,
forward. And that
yeah,
might heal it.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
And
No, I
just
think it makes
random.
sense because every single episode has been like a different generation of like strong women. I think the last episode probably would be to see her mom. So, what were you gonna say, Jorge?
No, it was interesting though when she was at the shop, you know, obviously getting like the leg fixed up, how she did end up seeing like that naked figure of like the ancestor, and how he
Don't
was,
smile like that. I ain't
well,
say
no,
anything.
how he basically, you know, told her like, yeah, your mom like caught back the ancestors all the way back to like the original.
Mm.
Mhm.
So just from that aspect alone, like, you know, they're just throwing you even more nuggets of how they're connected. So,
Yeah,
and I think you are right. I think it is something within, you know, like the women's bloodline throughout
yeah,
that whole thing that
Matrilineal.
has
Mhm.
something special. So I think
yeah,
for me, that's another aspect that will be exciting to see.
yeah. I definitely think that the grandfather, the fact that he had like this small fiber optic camera to use, he's like, yeah, what are you doing with this biscuit? Like the fact that he even had that in that shop is insane to me. Like I don't know how he procured something like that, but I do think that it was a double-edged sword. I think he absolutely wants to help his granddaughter, but I also think he wants to keep her there. I
Mhm.
think he kind of gave her the temporary thing so she had a
On
reason to come
purpose.
back.
Yeah.
It's all about trying to keep her there as long as he can to try to help protect her and give her as much advice as he possibly can. I think what's going to be interesting is to see Maya finally meet her grandmother. I think that that's going to be harder conversation than even her seeing Bonnie. I think seeing Bonnie is going to soften her up, but seeing the grandmother is going to be, like coming to roost, like how she really feels about having to leave and why she had to actually leave, because she may blame her grandmother for that, because her grandmother really was the one that kind of pushed it. I mean, they didn't have to really leave. It was the grandmother didn't feel comfortable with that, with them staying because of safety reasons. But yeah, transitioning into over that, going into Biscuits. The only reason why Biscuits even went to the grandfather because Maya gave him a list and was like, "Hey, I need this." And Biscuit's like, "What are we getting this for?" She's like, "I just need it." So then it turns to he gets all those different things. He brings it back to her and just like, "Oh, I need more stuff. I need you to go and get the car and get the truck." And he's like, "Grandma's gonna freaking kill me." She's like, "It's gonna be fine."
Yeah.
We've seen from the very last episode, she could care less. She could care less who it's gonna hurt, what it impacts, and the fact is that she still has vengeance on her mind, regardless of kind of who it affects. And so then it gets to the point where they're like at the bridge, and he's like, all right, what else do you need? He's like, I need your phone. She puts the tracker up there, and she proceeds to jump off the freaking bridge. And it was like, yo, she's not Rob Pattinson. But I do like the way that they handled it with this one, because it was like, okay, it's not necessarily believable, but it's like, all right, it's not too far-fetched, like what her training and what she's capable of doing. Now, I think you said it, and as far as like CG, people are gonna go and like have their gripes about what it looks like. Even some of the people that watched it with us are like, oh, look at that CG Marvel budget. But I didn't have that much of an issue with it because it was a nighttime shot. I've seen them do a daytime like train sequence. I think they did it in Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I mean, this actually was a little bit more engaging because I didn't know what was going to happen. Like if I'm sitting there having a Winter Soldier and Falcon up there, I knew they're going to survive. Like I didn't know with the moment that she was kind of pent in between, with her leg being pent in between that, I was like, freak, what is she about to do? Because like she can kind of take the brace off and maneuver out, but then she's without a leather leg. Like how is she going to be able to go and run across? What happens if somebody engages her? And I think that's the thing that's going to be the crux of this episode. Some people are going to be like, there was no fights in this episode. There was no cool this, that, another. But if she was put in a situation in a fight in that moment, it would have been a life or death situation. I don't know how she would have got out of it. But what did you guys take on Biscuit's involvement and also going into progression of the whole setup as far as the train sequence?
I think Biscuit is caught between the current matriarch of the family and the upcoming matriarch of the family. And like sometimes it's where the men wouldn't dare say to grandma what that one sister or niece gonna say, because she's the next matriarch that's gonna be coming up. She's the next person making sure everybody get together and all this other stuff. And got that next person, like probably more like grandma than they would have admit type of stuff. I think, and I might have already said this, I can't remember if we said in the chat or not, but for the train scene, she is so driven, and I love the fact that this is a flaw. She's so driven to get vengeance on Fisk for what she feels was taken from her, that she's putting everybody else in danger. Because they're not rich. Like you lose a car, that's a big thing. Having those those car repairs is a big thing. But she lived in a world where the consequences are somewhat bigger, but also lesser. Like there's nothing to her to wreck a motorcycle, because it's gonna get sorted out, or to break a shop or bust a car thing. But these have real world consequences to people in their day-to-day lives, check the check type of stuff. And even bringing that trouble to her town was unnecessary. Like what was the point? But it's a character flaw, and I think we can see growth from that. Like I said, the train scene when her leg got crushed, I heard multiple audible when we were watching it. That's a great scene. Sometimes you don't need a direct confrontation to have. This was a stealth mission in a game where you're playing a game and you get through a stuff and you can't get caught. This was that, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was well done. And again, you don't need the big Marvel budget to do it.
Yeah. Jorge or Vanessa?
Yeah, no, I agree with what Ant was saying. I think sometimes people are just complaining just to complain. Like I had no issue. It wasn't egregious. It wasn't. It was fine. And I think you bring up a good point where when her leg got caught, all of us reacted to it, and that's what you want to happen when you're in a scene like that. Like the CGI didn't take you away from it, and I think that was the most important part for me, was that you still stuck through it. But no, I totally like this. Reminded me, especially that train scene, almost like Metal Gear Solid, where you're just kind of sneaking around, trying to find everything. And once again in this episode, they work with sound again, where you kind of start hearing nothing except like her heartbeat. And then after she does something, like when she calms down, then the noise and everything comes back on. So I'm still digging how they're playing with like the sound effects in this for sure.
Yeah, Vanessa?
Yeah, I agree with everyone. No, I think the funny the funniest thing to me is like people were like saying like, oh, the way she got on the train was unbelievable, or it was believable. I mean, and I was like, how many of us can even jump on a train and do it? Like, it doesn't mean like I don't need it to be believable. This is a comic book show. Like, I don't care about the CGI looks kind of wonky. So what? It's a comic book show. Comic books look crazy. Like, I always remember the roots. So I think it's fun when they do cool stuff. She was also doing some, she does really cool stuff with her body. When after she got her leg smashed, she like trying to like adjust on the door and she like slid. It was like she's a really good control of her body. And I noticed that. And I have to assume that the actress is because of of just how her life is. That's just something that's normal to her. So it's really cool to see how her body moves. So yeah, I think I love the train scene. That's probably my favorite part. Biscuits is the reliable cousin who you will absolutely get in trouble constantly. And I was the cousin that got that cousin into trouble. So I got a soft spot in my heart for Biscuits. But yeah.
Yeah. It was something I was going to ask you guys because, like Matt Murdock is, people consider him the man without fear. But thinking about a world where you can't hear anything, but you see everything, like you can't tell if like a car is coming to the side of you and is beeping the horn about to hit you. Like, what do you guys think about like her level of emotional perspective when it comes to fear or when it comes to threats or anything like that? Because most things, like, it just does not phase her. Even as a young kid, like, she was just very strong. And I don't think I'd ever thought in my head, like, from a perspective of like fear, like you have to have some kind of levels of fear about certain things, but it seems like she's kind of void of that. She's kind of mastered that and owned it. And I was kind of gonna check you guys' perspective on what do you think about like her perspective on fear and concern. Because I mean, she doesn't have any concern for other people because, like you said, like she's been spoiled by fists that she can get out of anything. But even if she didn't have fists, like she got so much rage and anger and pain that she really already utilized that anyway. Like she's kind of mastered that perspective in her heart or her mind. So I don't know. As far as like thinking about like her living in a world without hearing anything and also being an amputee, like where do you guys kind of feel like she's at emotionally when it comes to fear or certain stuff?
So we know that as we can see this in real world, as children that grow up in very high violence atmospheres or have a certain amount of trauma as they form, those glands that have us have those reactions can kind of almost burn out in a way. She's still in survival mode. You could tell that when the door started blinking, she's up. So it's not that she doesn't have any fear, it's just how she reacts to it. She's always in survival mode in some way, always trying to protect herself in some way. I think that's a good point, though, that Matt Murdock can basically see, right? He can basically see. So, while, you give ups that he still has to adjust and have to work hard to get the ability where he can function, she's not getting her hearing back. and so that means, I think I had said something like, how does she know when she's being silent? And I think Vanessa said, you said that she probably sees how much vibration she's making. It's a really good point. I remember, I saw I was seeing this African dance troupe, and there was one guy that was blind. He pretty much went dancing off of the rhythms of the drums. So he was near enough to the drums to feel the rhythm. And first time I saw him, he was a little slightly off. The last time I saw him, he was perfectly on beat with everybody else. So I like that they have to use. She actually has to be more creative in how she functions than Matt Murdock. It doesn't say she's a better character or anything. It's just it makes her unique that she has to get over these challenges and still do this heroes type stuff of jumping on moving trains and things like that. So I love it, and I'm very interested in the family dynamic and how they go. And Biscuit, man, you can make me some money.
Vanessa, Jorge.
Yeah, I was gonna say they like scientifically, if one of your senses goes down, a lot of the other ones overcompensate to like make up for it. So like she's like what is his name? Daredevil. What's his real name?
Matt Murdock.
Matt Murdock. Yeah, Matt Murdock. I was gonna call him Charlie Cox. Whatever. Matt Murdock's his senses are he can essentially see, but his like he's basically like he's like got a bat, like he's like a echophone, whatever, like type of cool thing. Hers, we may end up seeing it later this season, but I assume that she can pick up vibrations, not unlike anything we can, because of her senses are her sense of touch, her sense of sight, or sense of taste is probably all contributing to her being able to do those things, being able to like feel the wind change, like which could compensate for speed and like things like that. There's so many different things that we take for granted because we have all our senses working to keep our asses alive. But she has one down, and she's got one less foot. So I think she's had to train. Plus, she's been like training under fists. So I think fear is one of the last things that she's unlocking. It's probably compartmentalizing to the point where she doesn't want to feel like she can't feel it. Like Anne said, survival mode. That's literally every kid that goes into trauma, especially at a young age. They don't function the same. You die. Anyway, so that's kind of, I think it's interesting to see her, and I kind of want to see what else would they do later in the season, like how she compensates for her other stuff. But
Jorge?
Yeah, no, I think I agree with everything that both Anne and Vanessa said. I think with her, something that I appreciate is that they don't use her disability as a disadvantage. It's never been like, that's never been the highlight of it, which I appreciate in the show. They, she's still just as capable, just as like everything she's doing. It's not like she's doing anything superhuman or anything, but it doesn't hold her back. If anything, what they're showing is that she's more, and it kind of like with what Nessa's saying, like you're more hyper focused on what your other senses are doing, which is only giving her more, in a weird way, it's more abilities. And I think in terms of her lack of, I guess, fear or that negative type of emotion, I mean, I look at it more of like fight or flight. And realistically, like, she lost her hearing, or she doesn't have hearing. She already lost a leg. Like, what are you gonna do to her? Like, the biggest trauma stuff that could happen, other than her dying, like, she's faced, and stuff that she's had to do. It's almost like she has, I don't want to call it like split personality, but it's almost like a blind rage to just accomplish her mission, in a weird way. So no, I definitely, I love the way that they're portraying this character, and just how I like that they're not focusing on her deafness like being the main thing. That it's literally just about her, and I almost see it as if someone was speaking a different language, and that's all it is. Like, she's like, not even with the subtitles, like it doesn't take you away from the show, which I find, like, just beautiful that they're able to just kind of do it like if she was speaking Chinese, and if I don't know Chinese, then cool, I'll just read the subtitles, but it doesn't take you away from it, which I like. And I will say, with all the other actors that are interacting with her, using sign language and using, like, even they don't feel awkward, and they don't seem awkward at all doing it. So it literally just seems like such a cohesive unit in the way that all the actors are acting together. So I think overall, like, I love the way that they're portraying her, and how she is just kind of becoming this, like, this boss person. Because it's weird, because when you watch Hawkeye, I guess it's weird for me, and I don't know if, and this is a tangent, but this is something that while I was watching this, kind of hit me. When you're watching Hawkeye, she's kind of like the bad guy. But yet when you're watching this, she's the good guy. In a weird way. You get what I'm saying, though? Like,
the protagonist.
Yeah, like, you're cheering for her, but there's a bigger bad guy out there trying, at the end of the day.
She still spent years murdering people, but you kind of, she's also a victim in it. And it's kind of like, it's almost like a Bucky thing, right? She was exactly indoctrinated to a certain level. And there's one thing, I'm not sure who said it, but somebody pointed out that Fist didn't speak sign language, right? And we know Fisk is a really smart guy. He spoke multiple languages in Daredevil, right? But he never took the time to speak sign language. But her whole family seems like they continue to speak sign language to each other, even though she hasn't been there in 20 years. I think we saw a scene where they were still doing it, even though she wasn't around.
Yep.
So that whole family learned and continued the tradition of doing this for 2 decades. 2 decades. And I think it's a really subtle thing to show where we're going with this this family. I'm with it. Whatever your problems with, I think, was it Sam that mentioned Captain Marvel or no, Miss Marvel? No, or
it was Jorge.
I
It wasn't Jorge.
that's right. So whatever you thought about the series, and overall I did like the series. It was some issues, and even what you think about the Marvels, that family though, something about that works. When that mom covers her husband when he tries to protect her, and she covers him, and she gives that look to the Kree soldier. There's something there about that family, and I feel like I'm going to feel that same way about this family. No matter there might be some shady parts and all that stuff, I feel like I'm going to feel it about it.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with everything you guys said. But yeah, from that point, like we get understanding that she gets into the area she needed to get to. She unlocks whatever it was, and we're like, oh, okay, what is she stealing? And even though she messed up her leg, she was able to kind of use the force to break herself out. And of course, Biscuits being Biscuits, he was following her along. He even hung up on Grandma to try to have her back. And he gets close enough to her that she kind of does this dive off and barely makes it. I still don't know how she actually held on with him kind of turning like that, but it's a comic book movie. I mean, it's a comic book show, so we're gonna let it go.
Yeah.
But we come to find out, like, he was like, so what did you get? Like, hopefully it was worth it. She's like, I didn't get anything. And then we come to find out that she freaking had a bomb and put it to blow up Fisk's facility to send a message. And what it did, and she knew this, it put her uncle at risk. And so her uncle was calling her like, yo, what the freak did you do? He has to tell his people, like, look, this is going to come back on me. It's not going to come back on you. And she could care less. And while that's happening, of course, Biscuits messed up the truck. And so he's trying to sit there and sell his PlayStation 2 and try to get some money. He's like,
PlayStation 4.
Oh
yeah, PlayStation 4.
PlayStation 2.
And, I mean,
don't make it worse, Sam.
For $100, bro, like GameStop wouldn't even give him that. Anyway,
right.
So he went for $100, and then of course
for body work.
Bonnie heard over the, like, hey, was everything okay? What happened? So she starts kind of prying, and man, loose leaks ships, and he ended up saying that Maya was in town, and it was kind of like after that point, he was like, freak, I screwed up. And so, of course, from that point, Bonnie goes and texts Maya to try to see, are you in town? What's going on? And then, of course, Maya, like, her uncle comes to her and like, yo, what did you do? And she's like, dude, I know what I'm doing. Like, this is my time. I could care less. And it kind of goes back to the question I kind of asked you guys when it comes to fear. I think you guys are completely right. It's a fight or flight situation. She's desensitized to it. It's different for her because she's always in survival mode, but she hasn't had to worry about any more human connections because her father is gone. And so now, if you put in her grandmother, if you put in her grandfather, if you put in Bonnie, now she does have a potential for actual fear. And I think that, we look at her, and I've been kind of like, why is she so rude to everybody? Why is she so mean? Why is she putting her family at risk? She's there because this is her home turf, because these are her family. So it's like she feels most comfortable there, but she has everything to lose now, because if Fisk does come to this town, he's going to target them, all of them. And I don't know what that looks like for her. I don't know what she's going to do with that level of fear, because it's always been Fisk has kind of been on her side to use her. It's never been she has something to lose. Now she's got something to lose. And it's going to be interesting, kind of her being injected with fear. But yeah, as far as kind of how they kind of close this out, what were you guys' final thoughts on how they close out the episode and the episode as a whole?
Go for it, Vanessa. You can start.
Yeah, the bomb. I was like, this Love it. Loved it. Love it. Fantastic. I was like, she's a straight up terrorist. That's great. Love it. She's murdering people. I support women's wrongs. No, I think she's fantastic. I was like, this girl has no, she's insane. Like, this is intense, right? Like, she just, and her uncle's like, what the fuck? I told you not to start a war here. She's like, sorry, whatever. Like, this is insane behavior. I think everyone around her is like normal, and she's just like not normal. So it's like heightened, because I'm like, this is not how a normal, like, I get it, because she grew up in a very unusual circumstances, but it's crazy, like, to see her, the way she's just like very methodically doing certain things. Like, yeah, obviously she doesn't know that Wilson Fisk is still alive, I assume. So she's just not, I don't know, whatever. But like, she's kind of moving like, his empire is for the taking. So it's kind of interesting. I do think that her actions are going to cost her at least one family member. And
Which one?
Not Biscuit.
It's the uncle. It's the uncle.
I think it's either going to be the uncle or the abuelo. I think
No.
I think it's probably one of the. I know. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be one. I hope it's not Biscuits, but it could be Biscuits. But I don't know. But Biscuits we need for comedic relief. Anyway, I can't wait to see the Bonnie Maya reunion, because I think that's going to be intense. I can't wait to see that. But overall, I like the episode. I thought it was a great family building and small town building thing, because everybody seems to know about everybody. Everybody seems to be related to everybody, which is why I hate small towns. But yeah, I liked it. Do I give a grade now or later?
Yeah, you can go give a grade.
All right, I gave it a B+.
Nice.
So yeah, that bomb, I thought, oh, she wanted to just see what was being smuggled, the fist thing. I was like, yeah. Then that bomb came up and I was like, oh snap. Oh, this is the Peaky Blinders type thing. She was not subtle about this at all. At all. And also the level of pettiness to think that if she thinks Fisk is dead, the level of pettiness to keep going after this anything with this man's name on it. That's some stuff. And Miss Shark over there is like, I understand. I was like, just so you know, if I ever offend you, just let me have a chance to apologize before I have to open my mailbox and find a surprise. That's all I want to know. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. Yeah, so that shocked me. So it's another good moment. That train moment, this moment, the interpersonal moments. I'm with it. She started the war. People, it is kind of illogical, but they're human characters. They're going to do stuff that's illogical off of emotion, and she doesn't have to be perfect. She does not have to be a perfect character. That'll make her more relatable and more like what. And when we figure out what her mindset is, because we still don't really know what her thoughts are on all this. We still don't know. We were seeing her reactions and responses, but we're not really. We don't got an inside peek of what she's feeling. So I'm for it. And like you said, the uncle was like, "What the? I patch you up. I get my Undertaker girlfriend to come and clean your wounds and all this other stuff. Like, I play some Jodeci for you on the skate rink so you can punch you up. Like, like what more do you want? And you tell me not to tell anybody you here, but you announcing it with Biscuit. You know Biscuit can't keep a secret. And bombs, stealing grandma's truck, and Biscuit, and everybody know who can't keep a secret in your family. Everybody know who can't keep a secret in your family. I don't even blame Biscuit. I bet you like, I told you not to tell anybody. Girl. So yeah, at the end of the day, I like this episode. I'm gonna say it's a B. But depending on how the rest of the season go, that might elevate it. I'm still weary about these super strength things. So that's just me.
All right.
Yeah, no, I'll keep it simple because I think you guys have kind of said most of the stuff. I think the only thing that I found interesting was when her uncle did confront her. She said, I don't know if you guys caught on, but she goes, like, I have my plan and it's working perfectly, and you're either with me or against me.
So
she's already like bent on. She knows what she's gonna do. And I think it's one of those things where I don't think she's gonna care who gets hurt in the process. I think until like Bonnie or Biscuit, one of those people end up getting hurt. But no, I think overall, I mean, that bomb scene at the end was just gold. But I would say, I'll still stick to my like I'll raise it up to like a B plus. Like I thought this episode gave me everything that I needed. They make you care about other characters, throughout this whole thing, and you kind of get to feel for this family and understand this family, which is kind of one of the things that I loved about the Miss Marvel, and that whole show, because you genuinely loved that family. Like you felt like you were a part of it and seeing it. And this, you just feel like you're part of like a dysfunctional family, which is always fun. But yeah, this is definitely B plus for me, and I'm super excited to see where they take this. Especially because this whole thing is only what 5 episodes, so
Oh,
there's not.
really?
Yeah, it's like
I
there's
thought it
not.
was 6. Oh wow.
Yeah, I think it's only 5.
So I think they're doing the first
Damn.
They did
5
not care about
episodes
this show.
the night of.
Yeah,
They
well,
already had the contract signed. They were like, all right,
on the
you ain't
day of
getting 8 though.
release,
You getting
all
5.
5 episodes are coming out.
Yeah.
And
This week. Oh wow.
and the thing about it is, and I was going to ask you guys before I kind of give my closing thoughts, is that if this was like a week to week versus everything coming out all the same at that time, do you think it would help or hurt the show?
I think it would hurt.
If it
Yeah,
was on a weekly basis as opposed to coming out all at the same time?
yeah, because I think the
I think it
marketing
would
on
hurt.
this was 0. So
Mm.
like it's one of those.
Marvel's. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say by throwing it all at once, I think that's what's gonna give the word of mouth of like, oh snap,
Yes.
you gotta watch this. You gotta, and like you don't have to wait, so you can just binge right through it.
Mhm.
Realistically, you only do those week to week when you have such a banger that
Right, like House of Dragon or something like
yeah,
that.
people are gonna rewatch those episodes in
Mhm.
anticipation for the next one and the next one.
Mhm.
So yeah, no, I think this is probably releasing it all at once was probably the best thing they could have done.
Yeah, it reminds me of the old days of like when Jessica Jones season 1 came out or when
Yeah.
Daredevil came out. Like we got it all, and it was like we started
Good old
watching.
days.
Like yo, episode, yo, are you on episode
Man.
6?
Yeah, there was a competition in the chats of like, you done? What you got? I started
Yeah.
at 5 a.m. this morning.
It
What you
just
doing?
told me many a time. Like, hey, yo, did you know about this? Yo.
Yeah.
What a time.
Yeah, but I think if this show had came out 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I think it could have probably survived week to week. But I think Marvel spent so much of its social credit so far that people just aren't. They're not excited for it. They're not. It's not a must see thing, And some of us have warned about that for a while, but it's finally happened, and I think that it's a shame because you're going to lose good shows like this. Same thing with Star Wars. Like Andor is a good show, but
Mhm.
you've lost so much social capital that nobody's really trying to check for something new or something like that because you wasted so many good opportunities. I think that,
and it sucks because we're actually seeing people look like us in the leads, especially that look like me in the leads of these shows, and no one's watching anymore. Cool.
Yeah, and they're gonna get the wrong
I didn't
message.
watch the Marvel, sorry, but
Right, but no, they're gonna get the message that we're the problem and we're not. We
not.
deserve good quality storytelling. We deserve to be heroes, villains, greedy, selfish, selfless.
Terrorist.
We deserve the terrorist, and it'd be right. And I think no, because really Marvel's had an issue with there's this girl in every Marvel show that why are you trying to trigger me, Sam? So the girl that she takes off and she's I'm a girl, the freckle face, light skinned girl, she takes off her mask. Why you trying to trigger me, Sam? I'm trying. I said I wasn't gonna rant, and you just let me do it. It's like, but I'm gonna say that it's a shame because when you get something quality, like so far the writing's been here where I like everybody I've seen. I like everybody the villain. I like all their mistakes, all their heinous acts. I don't think Echo's a quote unquote good person, but she's a person. She's a complicated person. And it's a shame that if we like this and we don't get a season 2 because of their past mistakes, because no one's going to watch something that's actually good, because it's just too late now. That was a rant. I got 1 out of 2 episodes. I feel satisfied.
Yeah, I mean, I'll try to be positive on my final thoughts. Like, I mean, I think this is a really good episode. I did enjoy it. I think it was engaging. I mean, you got a lot from the town. I come from a small town, so everybody knows everybody's business, and you gotta watch out for what you do. So yeah, no, I thought this was actually really interesting, because now I'm looking at Maya. It's like, you don't know what you're about to awaken, because now, as soon as she finds out that Fisk is alive, because I was kind of like, what is she trying to accomplish? Like, okay, if Fisk isn't there, people will start to kind of be afraid of her. You know, it's like, okay, she is the threat. I need to temper my expectations and be careful not to cross her. Well, she's about to get crossed, and she's about to either, one, fold because of her family, or perish in the middle of it. I don't think she's going to perish. I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the character as a whole. This is a B plus. I actually did really enjoy it. It's a different pace from the first one. Some people, I think, are going to be like, I need more Daredevil, I need more action. But I think if they're looking at it episode, like you guys all alluded, I think they're going to be fine, because they don't have to wait. They can just go to the next one. Like, I want to see the next episode, and that's telling me that I'm enjoying my watch. And I think that's everything. But yeah,
I know we're closing out, but I do have a thing where I think that I wonder if the easy thing would be Fist to come back and he wants the vengeance of killing her and all this other stuff. But I'm wondering if he goes that route. I'm wondering if he still doesn't have some kind of care or ownership, if he feels over, and like what he does to, I don't know. I think it would be too easy to just him go, I want to wipe out your whole family, or that's my hope. I think there'll be more layers to it.
I think it's about control with him. Everything is about control with Fist. And so, no, he still absolutely looks at her like a daughter. And he's going to try to see how he can be able to leverage her, but he's going to punish her for shooting him in the face.
It would be a shame if something happened to your grandmother or your cousins.
Like, you know what? Like, I lost one eye. You know, I'll get an eye from your grandmother. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what he's going to do.
Biscuits has some nice eyes.
but as I open this card, we're gonna go.
Wow.
Good night. But no, I'm gonna let everybody kind of plug their content. Vanessa, where can everybody find you?
You can find me at Vanessa Shark on Instagram and Twitter. I have a website, vanessashark.com. I also write an interview on multiverseofcolor.com. I'm done.
I'm gonna make that a GIF, legit. Gonna use that.
Would be good.
Yeah. But yeah, you guys can follow Jorge and Ant on TeamJVS, and also you can follow Jorge's content as far as Also Fast, and he's got some other reviews that are going to be coming up this year, as well as a lot of interviews and discussions. So we got a lot of things coming you guys' way. We'll be back for episode 3 coming up, and hopefully you guys enjoy our entertaining conversation. So bye, everybody.
Thanks.